Hello students, welcome to this lecture number 5 on unit number 3 of turbo machine reaction water turbines. In this lecture number 5 we will cover velocity triangles and working proportions of a Kaplan turbine as well as propeller turbine. Okay, Kaplan turbine and propeller turbine are almost similar, same in the construction, right? In the figure, the inlet and outlet velocity triangles for a Kaplan turbine runner, the working at constant speed under constant head at the full load and at the part load are shown. So this is a Kaplan turbine. Here you can see the Kaplan turbine, right? It has a vertical shaft. The shaft is generally hollow in nature and the lower part of a shaft is made bulky, that is known as a hub. Okay, the runner blades are mounted on the periphery of the shaft, that is hub. So these are runner blades. There will be 4 to 6 number of runner blades. The hub diameter is represented by dB and the runner blade diameter is represented by DO at the outlet tip. Then we have a scroll casing surrounding the runner and there will be a row of guide blades. So these are guide blades, this one, right? So water flows through the scroll casing, passes through the guide blades and turns by 90 degree, and then the water will enter in the runner blades, right? So the water passage through the runner blades is purely axial. At the exit of the runner there is a draft tube, so that will connect the exit of runner with the tail race water level. This is the draft tube, right? So, and we know in a Kaplan turbine the runner blades are pivoted. So this is a pivot point, right? And in a Kaplan turbine there is a provision to change the orientation of these runner blades. You can turn the runner blades about their axis, about the axis of the runner blades. So about this pivot point the runner blade can be tilted, right? So this is the first position, the position of runner blade at full load, right? Like this. And this is another position, the blade position at the part load, right? So for a part load the blades are more horizontal and for full load the blades are opened, so they are more vertical, towards vertical nature. So when a turbine is working at constant speed of rotation under a constant head, then to generate a given amount of power, that is a rated power, you will require more discharge rate to pass through the runner blades. Okay, so to make a flow of a more discharge, more quantity of water through the runner blade, you will have to make it quite vertical, so like this, right? So at full load it should be like this. And if the outer load on the turbine is less, that is the electrical load on the generator, if it is less, then to generate the same amount of power at a given speed and at a given constant head, you will require less discharge rate of the water passing vertically down through the runner. Okay, so to reduce that discharge rate of water, you can slightly make the blade horizontal like this, right? But you are producing same amount of power. Okay, so here although the changes in the flow, so that is changes in the flow rate through the turbine runner does affect the shape of the velocity triangles, okay, yet as the blade angles are simultaneously adjusted the water under all the working conditions flows through the runner blades without shock. Now this is very important sentence and statement. What is that? Though the changes in the flow means flow rate, discharge rate, through the turbine runner does affect the shape of the velocity triangle. How the shape of velocity triangle will be changing? This is inlet velocity triangle and this is outlet velocity triangle. The shape of velocity triangle will change because your flow velocity Vf will change. Right, this is a flow velocity. This vertical component is flow velocity. Here also the vertical components are flow velocities. Even if your peripheral velocity u is constant, if you are running turbine at constant RPM, peripheral velocity u will be constant. But if you are changing the flow rates, then the velocity of flow Vf component will change at inlet and outlet. Therefore, there will be change in the shape of the velocity triangles that you can see over here, right? The velocity triangle shapes are changing. Yet, as the blade angles are simultaneously adjusted. Now, what happens is these blade angles are adjusted and they are tilted. Runner blades are tilted by a mechanism inside the hub of a Kaplan turbine, as well as guide blade angles. Those orientation of guide blades are also changed and tilted by the governing mechanism, because guide blades are ultimately connected to the governing mechanism. So the runner blade angles as well as guide blade angles are simultaneously adjusted. The water under all, so that the water under all working conditions flows through the runner blades without shock. Okay, this is the reason why water always flows through the runner blades of a Kaplan turbine without causing any shock. Why? Because in this turbine there is a provision to change the orientation of the guide blades as well as runner blades, and they are manipulated simultaneously by the mechanisms. Thus what happens is the eddy losses, which are otherwise inevitable in the Francis turbine and in the propeller turbines, are almost completely eliminated in a Kaplan turbine, right? In a Francis turbine there are always eddy losses, which are a part of a hydraulic losses, considered as a hydraulic losses, and those are major losses other than frictional losses due to blade friction. Similarly, in a propeller turbine, which is very much identical to Kaplan turbine, but the blades are not adjustable one, non-adjusting type of one blades, runner blades. So the eddy losses are there and those are considerable. But in case of a Kaplan turbine, since the blade angles are manipulated, the runner blade angles are changed, the eddy losses are almost eliminated in Kaplan turbine. Now this is the simple velocity triangle. This you have to learn, okay, instead of that earlier one. So this is the position of a runner blade. For example, full blade position at full load, and suppose this is rotating with anti-clockwise direction. If you see this diagram from the top view, if you see this from a top view, the blade is rotating in anti-clockwise direction, the shaft is rotating in anti-clockwise direction. So the motion of the blade will be like this along the periphery of the runner. So you can plot u1, you can calculate u1, peripheral velocity at inlet tip, and you can calculate u2, peripheral velocity at the outlet tip of a runner blade, right? Then you have to plot first VR1. VR1 is relative velocity at inlet. So this is a vector VR1 and it is tangential to the runner blade at the inlet tip. So this is tangential VR1. Okay. Then plot U1 on the left hand side of the VR1 as you have calculated U1. So you plot the vector u1. Then you have to join this starting point of u1 with end point of vr1. So that will give you v1. It is absolute velocity at inlet for this Kaplan and propeller turbine. After plotting v1, you have to plot components vw1 and vf1, right, as usual. Whirl component at inlet and flow component at inlet. The corresponding angle for v1 is alpha and the corresponding angle for vr1 is theta. So this completes our inlet velocity triangle. Then the water will flow down and it will exit out with relative velocity vr2 as a tangential velocity tangent to the runner vane at the outlet, that is vr2. u2 is already calculated, so you have to plot u2 like this. Remember, u1 and u2 are tangential peripheral velocities, so that's why they are horizontal, means they are tangential to the surface of the hub, okay, for anti-clockwise rotation from the top view. So plot u2, then join end of u2 with starting point of vr2. This gives you absolute velocity v2, that is absolute velocity of jet at outlet v2. Okay, now since most of the time in a Kaplan turbine and in a propeller turbine, the water exits out without any whirling motion, so vw2 is 0. So that's why v2 is equal to vf2, vw2 is 0 and beta angle for v2 will be 90 degree. For a vr2, the corresponding angle is phi. All these angles are measured with respect to direction of rotation of the runner blade. So these are some simple working proportion of a Kaplan turbine and propeller turbine. Here you can see this is a hub, this is a shaft, then the lower part of a shaft is hub, then there are runner blades, then here what is difference is we will define this as an inlet, that is the inlet to the blade will be the upper edge of a blade and outlet of the blade will be the lower edge of a runner blade, right. So the entire edge acts like a outlet edge and this edge as an inlet edge, right, inlet edge. And then this is dB and do diameters, hub diameter and outer diameter. Remember, the expressions for the work done, for the efficiency and the power developed by the propeller and Kaplan turbines are same as that of a Francis turbine. Okay, the formula of a work done, efficiency, power, etc. are same what we derived for Francis turbine, so same should be used. The main dimensions of the runner of a Kaplan turbine are obtained by a procedure similar to that of a Francis runner, right. So overall design procedure is same, almost same. However, the main deviations which occur are like this. First one, for a Kaplan turbine, the ratio of the hub diameter to the runner diameter do is given by the relation n. So parameter n is equal to hub diameter dB divided by runner diameter do, and it varies from 0.35 to 0.6, right. In case of a Francis turbine, n is b by d, that is b is width of the runner divided by diameter of the runner. Here it is dB by do. The peripheral velocity u of the runner vanes at inlet and outlet are equal. Why? Because at the inlet and outlet the radii are same, you can see in this diagram, and it depends upon the radius of the point under consideration. Okay, this is very important. What radius you are considering? For example, hub diameter. If you are calculating it at hub diameter, that is dB, then you have this point and this point. So at this will be inlet point, this will be outlet point corresponding to dB. So that's why peripheral velocity u will be constant at inlet as well as outlet. But if the diameter is different, then it will change. For a mean diameter dm, it will be something different. For a tip diameter do of a runner blade, the magnitudes of u1, u2 will be different, but u1 and u2 will be same. So for example, u is equal to u1 is equal to u2 is equal to pi d0n don by 60. Now this formula is defined at the tip of the blades, that is at do diameter. The discharge Q passing through the runner remains constant. Whatever discharge enters through the turbine, same discharge is maintained throughout the runner. At inlet and outlet it is constant. So Q is equal to annular area of a flow into velocity of flow. Annular area is pi by 4 dO square minus dB square within a bracket multiplied by Vf. Vf can be substituted as Kf into root 2gh, where Kf is flow ratio, right? Kf is a flow ratio. Further, dB can be put as n into dO. So you can get this formula, right? So discharge rate is constant. So there are certain notes. Note number 1, area of a flow at inlet is equal to area of a flow at outlet. So AI is equal to AO is equal to pi by 4 dO square minus dB square. These are applicable for Kaplan and propeller turbines. Then second is, okay, note number 2 is the velocity of flow remains constant throughout the runner. So Vf1 is equal to Vf2 is equal to Vf, that is equal to constant, and it is nothing but Kf into root of 2g capital H, where Kf value is around 0.7 flow ratio. Third note, the velocity of whir at outlet is generally 0. As I said earlier, Vw2 is generally 0 in axial flow water turbines, because the water exits axially without whirling motion at the outlet. That is the reason. Note number 4, the runner blades of Kaplan turbine runner are warped or twisted along their length, right? From the hub to the tip, the blades are twisted. So the blade angle being greater at the outer tip than at the hub, right? So this is because the peripheral velocity of blades being directly proportional to the radius, it will vary from section to section along the length of the blade, and hence in order to have shock-free entry and shock-free exit of water, the blades with angles varying from section to section will have to be designed. Okay, this point is somewhat complicated to understand, so you need to understand the construction of a Kaplan propeller turbine very well, and the construction of the blades as well, and then you can always go through this point. Okay, thank you.